Our beloved minority leader in the House, Nancy Pelosi, and pretty much the majority of the neocon Democrats do not want Medicare for all. And we've got a cute little video to show you. And afterwards, we're gonna have a laugh, and then we're gonna talk about it. So check this out.
Yesterday expressed hope that the death of this bill might renew discussions of Medicare for all or a single payer move in that direction. Do you feel like that the party may be ready to move in that direction now?
Well, when we did the Affordable Care Act, I wanted the public option, as I think everybody knows. We didn't get that, but we mitigated for not having it by having provisions in the bill that enabled people to receive benefits. The single payer or the public option would have saved more money. It would be cheaper because of not so many administrative costs. But right now, we couldn't get that when we had a Democratic president and a Democratic Congress. So what I've said to my friends, and many of them are my constituents, is there are a couple of things that we can do for the Affordable Care Act that are very important. One of them is to continue the reinsurance that we had in the program to begin with, to see if the Republicans would be willing, instead of being an obstacle to its enforcement, by stopping the release of funds that would help in the high-risk corridors, because that money was there, and that would have helped with the insurance companies in high-risk corridors, some of those things. And one thing that the president talked about in the campaign that would help continue to lower costs, although they're rising at the lowest rate of increase in the 50-year history that it's being measured, is to work with us to make sure that the Secretary of HHS is able to negotiate for lower prices with the pharmaceutical industry. And prescription drugs are the biggest reason for the increase in medical costs.
Leader Pelosi,
Oh my God. Is she not the worst liar? I mean, you've heard of the pantomime, right? You can tell how people are lying. You know, they have little shoulder twitches. You know, they touch their head, they touch their chin. You know, a little twitchy here and there. She shows them all. You know, no, I'm not lying or anything. I just, yeah, my face is always bright red like this. You stutter much? But the thing I want you to really notice, I mean, it's hilarious to watch her do this, but she didn't answer the question. The question was, don't you think it's time, don't you think that America is primed for this? Since the defeat of the Trump Ryan Care, that atrocious piece of shit that they gave us as health legislation, since that failed, we're all starting to really pay attention to it. And the reporter asked, don't you think it's time that America's ready to start talking about Medicare for all? And she just started going off on this tangent, giving you this word salad that you're not supposed to be able to understand. She wants you confused. Shit, she is confused. But she didn't answer the question the entire time of all that rambling. What was that, like about a minute and a half? She just and you don't understand a word she's saying. She's not saying anything. I think I said this before in an earlier point. The average person making $30,000 a year pays an average amount of $1,700 in premiums for their insurance. That is between 5 and 6%. The amount of money that they make goes to insurance. Meanwhile, Medicare for All, they've done a study of it. Actually, they have done many studies of it, but it comes to anywhere between 2 and 3% tax increase. So, private insurance, 5 or 6%. Government insurance, 2-3%. I think that's a hell of a lot better deal. And you don't have to think about making premium payments. You don't have to have these conversations about, well, you have to have this deductible, this $5,000 deductible. Oh, you're sure your insurance is really low, but your deductible is $10,000 and the procedure costs $12,000. So basically your insurance is covering $2,000 and you're paying out of pocket everything else. This is not cost effective. But you're talking about a 2 or 3% tax increase and you don't have to think about it ever again. You get sick, you go to the doctor. You have an emergency, you're at the front of the line. And don't get me started on this. Oh, well, like in Canada, they have wait times. Yeah, they have wait times for elected surgery. So let's say you have a bad shoulder or you have a bad knee. You want to have your surgery in 2 weeks. They say, we can put you on the waiting list. You get it in 6 weeks. What is the difference? It's free. There's no lawsuit. Well, here in America, we sue all the time. The doctor didn't do a good enough job. We got to sue him. To get your money, and you're not getting all your money, and you're still dealing with this bad surgical procedure. Nobody sues in Canada because it's free. You get it done free. They screw it up. God hope. Nobody's perfect, but you have a botched surgery, the next one's free too. There's no point in having a lawsuit, which is why I think these premiums are so inflated. That's why the insurance costs so goddamn much, because it's for profit and they're covering their own ass. 45,000 people in America every year die without health insurance. 45,000. You know how many people die in Canada a year with no health insurance? 0. Because they all have health insurance. This is not an issue for them. They look at us and they go, what the hell is wrong with America? The American dream? This is the American dream? It's like going to the airport. Remember, I don't know, some of you probably aren't old enough to remember. I'm unfortunately old enough to remember. When you went to the airport and you got on the plane, you carried the luggage that you wanted to, and you got the meal, you got the peanuts, you got the blanket, you got the headphones, you can really have a good time, enjoy yourself. Everybody dressed nice, put on a nice little dress, cute little heel, get your hair done, everybody look fabulous for the flight. Nowadays, you show up in your sweatpants and your flip-flops because you got to take basically everything off. You get frisked from head to toe. You got to pay for every bag. You want a bag of peanuts? That's $5. You want headphones? That's $5. You're going to watch the movie? That's $10. Everything costs. This is the privatization world. This is how they make money in insurance. This is how when you go to the hospital, they charge you $10 for a Tylenol. Every time they put a thermometer in your mouth, that's another $10. It's like we need to stop off at Duane Reade, for those of you who are not in New York, Walgreens. You stop at Walgreens, you get your needle and thread, you get your Vicks Vapor Rub, you get a couple of tongue depressors and a bottle of Tylenol. And you say, stop charging me these fucking hospital prices. Because that's where the money comes from. That's when you get that doctor bill, or that surgical bill that was in the hospital. It's 20 pages long, and it's way more than you thought it was going to be. If you wanted to get that stuff done on the outside, it would cost you half as much. But it goes through the insurance, so they charge the insurance top dollar. That means that your premiums are going to go up. That means that everybody's premiums are going to go up. And the people that don't have health insurance, they go to the hospital because every time they get a fever, they can't go to the doctor. They don't have a doctor. They don't have health insurance. So they go to the hospital. And then the hospital charges them $500-$600, but they don't have any money, to do a couple of stitches on a hand or something. It's $1,000. You cut yourself, you get stitches, $1,000. They don't have any money. So where does it go? It's covered with and by people who have insurance. And then your insurance costs continue to rise because you're having to cover people who don't have it. Medicare for all. Everybody's covered. It's all done by the government. It's very efficient. 94 cents on the dollar from a government plan. 94 cents out of the dollar goes to health care. Private insurance, 75% of it is for health care. 25% is administrative, please, is the corporate owners padding their pockets, making tons of money. In that video, you'll hear Nancy Pelosi say, well, we didn't pass it in 2009 when we had the majority. She says we couldn't pass it. No. Honey, they had a filibuster-proof House and Senate. They had the majority, overwhelming majority. Like how the Republicans are now, that's how the Dems had it before. They could have pushed their agenda. They could have, instead of giving us this shitty ACA, which is better than nothing. We have to keep this in mind. What we had before was nothing. And insurance premiums were going through the roof. That's why the ACA was put into place by Obama. Yes, the costs are still going up, but they're not going up as fast and as high as they would have been if we didn't have the ACA. But she said that we couldn't pass it. They had the majority. Back then, they could have put in single payer. They could have given us Medicare for all back then, but they didn't. They gave us this weak sauce Republican plan. And this is what we're stuck with. As far as I'm concerned, corporate insurance basically just needs to die. It needs to go away. I hear it all the time. These corporate Democrats, the ones that take all this money, they take money from oil companies, they take money from insurance companies, they take, they take their political action campaign money from private prisons and pharmaceutical companies, where their corporate masters are basically telling them what to do all the time. And then they turn around and complain to what they call them Bernie Bros, Bernie Crats. I just call them progressives. I'm a progressive. They turn around and tell us, you guys are judging us with this purity test. Yeah, because you take dirty corporate money. You want us to be more like you? No. We are the majority in this country. We want you to be more like us. You ask individuals whether they are Democrats or Republicans. I'm sick of these labels, because we all sit in our corner with our little label on, and we don't listen to one another. But if you ask even the most staunch Republicans, and you ask them, how do you consider yourself? Oh, I'm a conservative. And you ask them bullet point by bullet point, how do you feel about having Medicare for all? Generally speaking, the majority of people, even conservatives, they love the idea. Free state college education, they love it. They say they're conservative, but they still love it. You ask them about a $15 minimum wage, or a minimum wage that is tied to inflation, they love it. So when you tell me that these conservatives, these Republicans, wearing their label, don't believe in the stuff that we believe, I'm sorry, but I have to beg to differ. Because you ask them individually about these things. Do you want us to stop war, or stop all these 7 warring, bomb-dropping interventions, and bring some of that money home and start doing some infrastructure spending and putting our people back to work? You ask a conservative that, they say, fuck yeah, because they're sick of this war shit, just like I am. Republicans, conservative people, and progressives have way more in common with each other than we do with the representatives pretending to represent us. Republicans always say that they are the party of Lincoln. They tend to forget that during the civil rights movements back in the 60s, okay, well, let me clarify that. The party of Lincoln. Back in the day, Republicans, during Lincoln's time, they were the ones from the North that believed that slavery was bad. The Democrats were the ones from the South, and they liked slavery. Over the next 100 years, they flipped. During the civil rights movement in the 1960s, Democrats used to be called Dixiecrats, and they pushed the civil rights agenda on them, and they said no. So they, instead of being voted out, they changed their themselves from Dixiecrats into Republicans. So they ended up flipping. I just find it ironic that Republicans always talk about how they are the party of Lincoln, but yet they don't remember in history how the Democrats and Republicans basically swapped places during the civil rights. My question to the Democrats is, why don't you ever say that you're the party of FDR? I mean, he gave us the New Deal. He pulled us out of the Great Depression, all the corruption that was going on in the banks. They saved, the Democrats saved our collective bacon with that. And yet Democrats never say they're the party of FDR. But I know why. Because they don't believe in any of the stuff that FDR believed in. Democrats today have nothing in common with FDR. He gave us the New Deal. He gave us Glass-Steagall. Well, if I remember correctly, Bill Clinton wanted to privatize Social Security. That doesn't sound very New Deal-y. He dismantled Glass-Steagall, which was put in place to keep investment bankers away from family bank money. That was Bill Clinton. He did that for us. Thank you, Bill Clinton. He allowed the consolidation of media with Clear Channel, so that's why we have 6 huge media corporations that basically run everything. 50 years, not even 50 years ago, back in the early 80s, there were about 40 or 50 different companies. Now we have 6. You have less ownership of media. It means they have more control over what you get to hear. That's why you listen to Fox News, MSNBC, CNN. It's all bullshit. Why do you think everybody's getting their cable news away from cable? They're coming to YouTube to get their news because we speak the truth. Nobody owns me. No corporate conglomerate owns me and gets to tell me what I have to can and can't say. Isn't that the way you want it? You want your news to be truthful and honest? Not anymore. So these days, we have Republicans and Democrats, not so much on the left. They're more here. So we have Republican, and then we have Republican light. They run strong Republicans and weak-ass Democrats. So the Republicans always win. And the Democrats, they're just doing the good fight. What's the good fight? You're not doing what your base wants, your progressive base wants, and you're accepting corporate money. You're Republican light. You're weak sauce. You're nothing. And that's why we all hate you. Yes, I can't stand Donald Trump, but the person I'm more mad at is Hillary Clinton, is Perez, the DNC chair, the new DNC chair, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Donna Brazile. These people that think that nothing is wrong and everything is perfect and we should never have to change. It's their fucking fault that we're in this position right now because they did not do what their base wanted. They did what their corporate owners wanted. Democrats never say they're the party of FDR because they don't believe anything that FDR had to say. They have Republicans and you're Republican light. No wonder they're always talking about fucking Russia because they don't have any other thing to talk about. They have no platform. They just serve their corporate donors. Thanks, Democrats. This is Antoinette from Transistor Rodeo. If you like what you saw here, please subscribe for more videos and content, and you can follow me on Twitter at Transistor Rodeo.